Hey, you. Yeah, that's right. I'm talking to you. Are you looking for the best way to promote your podcast? It's easy. Just advertise your podcast to your ideal target audience. That's right, listeners of similar podcasts. Podbean has the best and most cost-effective options for you. Just go to the website sponsorship.podbean.com/STR. That's right, your friends here at Scout Team Radio are hooking you up. Go to sponsorship.podbean.com/STR and you will get the best deals to get your podcast rolling. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy Scout Team Radio.
Yeah.
You want to like them, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. You straight gangsters over here,
Straight
man.
gangsters. Yeah! Good morning and welcome back. You are listening to Scout Team Radio. We bring it to you hot and live each and every morning, Monday through Friday, right here on 12 Ounce Sports Radio. I am one of your favorite hosts. They call me Loudbeard.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
Yep, all of that is true. And the man on the other microphone, a man that needs very little introduction, but I'm giving him a little introduction anyway. Here he is.
America.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is your boy, Chris America, coming to you live this Friday, September the 6th, 2019, and I'm coming in hot like a suspension on the breaking news wire.
Okay, look at you. You are coming in hot. Coming in
Man.
off the news wire. I just pulled it off. Suspension for Chris America for being too hot.
I was off yesterday, Loudbeard. I was doing some more painting. I decided, let me put on some ESPN in the background. Poor choice on my decision. All they talked about was the Antonio Brown suspension. I don't get why they get so wrapped up in one topic that they can't talk about anything else. And it's just, eventually you just start repeating yourself over and over and over again.
Oh, absolutely. And I've done that before, too, where I've taken the day off and doing some house chores, and you throw on ESPN on the background, and you're thinking, okay, I'll get some of my sports news for today. And you realize that it's just 5 or 6 different shows talking about the exact same thing over and over and over again, and it's like basically a broken record on repeat. And after about 2 or 3 hours of that, can't take it anymore. I really can't. It's designed for that person that goes and watches like one, in the morning. Oh, I'll put it on for 30 minutes before work. And then when you get home, you're like, okay, I might put it on for an hour or something. It's designed for that person. If you're home all day, I don't know how you can stand that stuff. And they do it so easily. It's seamless almost. Like, let's just talk about the same topic over and over.
And they'll be like this. They'll discuss it. They'll discuss it in the studio, and then they'll say, okay, well, we're going to go over to Steve Young, who's at the football game today over in Chicago. Steve, what do you have to say? And then they'll get Steve's opinion, and it's fairly much consistent with everybody else's opinion. Like, what more are you going to get? Like, we know the story, and there's not much to disagree with this story other than the fact that this is what the Raiders deserve. And nobody really said that. I didn't really hear anybody say, look, Raiders, John Gruden, Mayock, this is why the Steelers gave them away to you. So what were you expecting?
Yeah, and you were so right. What is it that they were expecting? I mean, I get it. This is a guy that has a ton of talent, and the Raiders took a chance. And right now that chance is not paying off. It needs to pay off on the field, and this is going to spill over to where it affects the play on the field because his diva-ness has become such an important factor to him and what he needs to do that he's forgotten that it's about playing football. And because he has forgotten that, it is now going to affect his team, his teammates, his owner, his coach, his manager. It affects everybody because they took a chance on him. They paid him. They gave him the big contract. And this guy has become a problem.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that they brought up a lot yesterday. That was one of the pieces of information that I didn't know that I was glad to hear was that I guess if they suspend him today or before Sunday, they can cut him from the team without ever giving him his $30 million guaranteed.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Wow, that's an interesting factoid. This is why you listen to those 4-letter networks, huh? You get all
Sometimes
the big
from time
scoops.
to time,
Yep.
you get that in between the opinions and the arguing and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good fact. And I think right now they're sitting there with a little buyer's remorse. They're thinking, okay, the guy comes in. I get he has the foot injury, the cryogenic chamber stuff. That happens. But the helmet thing, and then they have to sit back. John Gruden's got to be like, okay, I support our guy, but we do need him on the field eventually. And now it's gotten to the point where he's yelling and screaming at Mike Mayock. He doesn't want to play. He's got problems with his helmets, other than this Zenith one that he has found that he likes apparently. But it took a long time for him to get there, and he really didn't like it at first. I think he just likes it now because they're probably sponsoring him. And we're at the point where it is what we thought it was going to be, and that is a total, I was going to say something show, but you know what I'm saying. A show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it's become. That's what we thought it would be, and it is what we thought they were going to be right there.
And I kind of knew. I'm surprised it's more Mayock than Gruden, but I think Mayock's kind of taking the hit for this one for Gruden, so Gruden can kind of stick with the players and seem like a player's coach. I don't think Gruden wants to lose the locker room coming off his heart, so I think Mayock's the one that's taking the brunt of this one.
Yeah, and
this reminds me again. I said this when he signed or when he got traded. Was this is Keyshawn Johnson, John Gruden all over again?
Oh, yeah, you've got that nailed perfectly. And so I think it's interesting now. It's even more interesting that you've made the point that if they do suspend him, and then that guaranteed money goes away. His agent, Drew Rosenhaus, famous sports agent, is Antonio Brown's agent, and he comes out. He's got some comments to make, and one of them says, "Our goal is to salvage the relationship." Yes, Drew Rosenhaus, if it is going to affect that $30 million bonus, which affects your paycheck, of course you want to salvage the relationship so you can get paid. If you don't salvage that relationship, I'm sure that's going to hurt your wallet. And yeah, that's when the agents start jumping in. Like Drew Rosenhaus is now like, whoa, I thought this was a done deal. Come on, let's get along. Can't we all just get along now?
He wants that 3%. He can't get it if he's cut from the team, and he doesn't get that $30 million.
Yeah, 3% of $30 million is a pretty good payday.
Yeah, it is.
Pretty good payday. So we definitely
and then
want to keep
whatever
that
else is
going.
left on the contract too, you know.
The thing that kills me with this, and it hurts me to my core, is we had a football game last night, and it is the start of the NFL season. It is supposed to be one of the most glorious times of the football year. You get to see the first real live action. And the thing that overshadowed the entire day, the thing that clouded the entire story, is this Antonio Brown mess. And, you know, the Steelers right now, I know Steelers fans are laughing because they're like, you know what, we got the best of him, and when he started turning for the worst, we got rid of him, and you picked up our garbage. And unfortunately, the Raiders do not have a good record for dealing with diva wide receivers. They had Randy Moss, who they signed for a big contract and brought over after he had all that success with the Minnesota Vikings, and he was a diva, and it did not work out very well. The Raiders did not handle that situation very well, and he went back and played for the Patriots and had one of his best years ever, and he sucked with the Raiders. So Antonio Brown fans, if history is to repeat itself, I don't know that this is going to be a happy ending. This looks like it's leading its way to a absolute self-destruction. And the Raiders, they might be smart. Like, if they could suspend them and then cut them and not have to pay that guaranteed money, honestly, at this point, I say you do it and you move past them. That's it. You're just done with all this mess.
But if you're Derek Carr, how are you feeling right now? Because I'm sure you don't give an S about any of this. You just want to have the best players around you. And you're going in the season with excuse me, I didn't mean to burp in the mic, but you go from having a great wide receiver to what's left for the Raiders? Who's left for him to throw to?
That's a good question. I know they picked up Tyrell Williams from the Chargers in the offseason. That was another weapon. But other than that, you're right. The pantry's a little bare. Now, there's always guys that come out of the woodwork. Maybe there's guys that he's building rapport with in the offseason and in training camp. That's one thing you got to remember. I mean, I know Antonio Brown is a huge talent, and I know you don't want that to go away, especially when you're the quarterback. But you are spending all this time out there building rapport with guys that are actually on the field, guys that aren't missing practice, missing time, missing games because of a helmet and because of feet. You're out there with guys that are wanting to put the work in. And I don't know how Derek Carr feels. I'm not in his head. But I would think that sometimes when you got a guy that wants to be there and that's putting the work in, sometimes you got to roll with that guy because you all of a sudden you feel like you're connected to that guy because that guy wants to be there and he wants to work hard and he's your guy. So I don't know if that's how Derek Carr feels or not, but I could easily see him saying, you know what? I haven't even had any time to connect with this guy. I haven't even had time to practice with him. So guess what? I'm not even going to feel bad if he leaves because I don't know any different.
Now, let me ask you this. This has been boiling all August, right? This whole situation with Antonio Brown and the Raiders?
It has. It's been ongoing.
Do you think Mayock and Gruden and even Antonio Brown were just kind of tempering their attitudes until those HBO cameras turned off and then it finally boiled over to yesterday?
No. I think it's more of a building up. Because
Okay.
when you first sign a guy and you know he's a diva, you're like, okay, guess what? I'm a patient guy. I know he's a talent. I know he's worth it. So we're going to make this work. And so weeks 1 of training camp, week 2, you're like, okay, no big deal. Okay, so he burned his feet on a cryogenic chamber. Okay, I can live with that. No big deal. He's going to get healthy. He's got the right attitude. Okay, why is he not at practice today? Oh, he's got a helmet issue. Okay. I can deal with that. I'm patient. I'm a patient guy. Oh, okay, he's got a second helmet grievance. Okay, I'm patient. Oh, now he just doesn't want to show up because Whataburger or In-N-Out Burger is having a deal on hamburgers, so he's just not going to show up to practice today. Okay, now I'm pissed, and now it's going to come out. And so I think it's been a building up period that it just created this final just outlash where Mike Mayock's kind of like, that's it, I'm done. And he seems like a very, very easy, even-keeled type of guy. So I don't think he came to this point easily. I think Antonio Brown has just pulled and yanked and scratched and clawed at him enough to where he finally just fired back.
Now, here's my other question. Do you think this is all a ploy so Antonio Brown can get out of the Raiders? Because he didn't want to go there in the first place.
I'm gonna say no because this is how I feel, and I don't know if you're gonna agree with me on this or not, but based on how he left Pittsburgh and now what he's doing in Oakland, I want to say that his value is diminishing each day.
Oh, for sure.
So if he wants out of Oakland, he is not going to, or Las Vegas. I'm sorry, I can't remember where they play.
No, they're
anymore.
in Oakland right now, I think.
Okay, Las Vegas is next year?
Maybe.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay, so when teams change cities but then don't change cities but then are going to change cities and then you don't know if they've changed cities or not, that confuses me. I'm just throwing that out there. I hope I'm not the only one.
I mean, this has been the most confusing because normally they're like, we're changing cities and then they move. This
Right.
one's like, we're changing cities, but, we have like 3 years to build a stadium in our new city, so we're gonna stay here. It's like that couple that splits up, but neither one of them can afford the house on their own, so they just live together.
Yeah.
I don't know how people do that. But
No.
people do. I know a lot of people who do.
No. That is not kosher. But
that's
you're
what
right.
the Raiders in Oakland are doing right now.
That
They're
is
a divorced
exactly what they're
couple
doing.
that's living together still. And the fans, they show up. Why not? They're the kids, you know what I mean? They're the kids that were in the middle of it, so they're there to play and have fun with each parent
Yeah.
until
Yeah,
daddy leaves.
Yep. Wow. That's an intimate look at the Raiders.
It is.
So I don't know. Anyway, I was making a point, but because I don't know what
I
city
think
they're in.
you were saying that his value diminished, and I agree with you. If they suspend him and cut him, he's not getting another $30 million guaranteed contract.
I don't
And with
believe
that
so.
said, for the price that Antonio Brown's probably going to go, I want my Carolina Panthers to pick him up at that price.
Yeah,
And I think you should want him on your Redskins too, at the price, at that discounted value.
Yeah, and I would think a team would do a 1-year deal with him, or maybe a 2-year deal where there's not a whole lot of skin in the game for that second year. Almost like a you got to show me what you're made of type contract. Like he's not going to get a 5-year, $80 million contract with 30 or 40 million guaranteed or anything like that. That ship has sailed. Antonio, that's what you get when you go to the Raiders. You got that. They gave you a shot. They needed talent, and you're there to help provide talent. Now you've changed the rules because you've decided to be such a diva that your talent doesn't matter anymore because they're done with you. So if the Raiders do suspend him and cut him and that guaranteed money is off the table, I think he goes and he gets a 1-year deal and he's got to go show himself out there. And I think that would be great for any team. Any team. And you're right, your Panthers, my Redskins, any team should be willing to give this guy a 1-year shot on really a minimal contract. I mean, he'll still deserve some money, whether it's a $10 million deal or $8 million deal. But I don't think he's going to get a huge number, even if it is a 1-year contract.
No, he's not. And I'll pick him up for that headache.
Yeah.
And just hope that maybe, okay, new team, new environment. Maybe he'll say, I learned my lesson a little bit. I'll calm myself down at least until, midway through the season. And I think you got to have the right quarterback. I know Derek Carr and him played like they were buddies and they were hitting it off, but I don't think that was really the case. I think that was all show for cameras.
Oh, I'm sure it was. And I've seen this out a lot on social media, and most of it's really tongue-in-cheek, and it's just in jest. But Patriots, I mean, what if Antonio Brown does get cut?
Oh, well, that's the number one reason why I want my Panthers to sign him, so he doesn't end up being signed by the Patriots.
You got a quarterback like Tom Brady,
yes,
who everybody respects in the NFL. They know what he's all about. And then you got a coach like Bill Belichick who won't put up with crap. And you bring him in and you just say, all right, this is your shot. We'll give you a 1-year deal. Belichick's not going to put up with any crap. You want to play or you don't want to play? We win Super Bowls here. This is what we do. We win Super Bowls.
We can win without you. He makes you feel like he can win without you, and he's proven it before you got there, and he'll prove it after you got there.
Right. So you think you're valuable, you think you're a diva, you better shut it up, and you better come out and play, and let's see what you got. And that's what he's going to do. So, oh, man, Chris America, I can't believe it. I think we've turned into ESPN. We've talked about Antonio Brown for the first. Yeah.
It's awful.
Okay, we're moving on. There was a game last night. Now,
yes.
Unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of action in this game.
Well, I was going to say unfortunately the game, you'd mentioned how that kind of ruined the opening day, and the game did nothing to take away from that story.
Was it an offensive explosion? Is that how you would describe this game?
Yeah. Offensive firepower, both quarterbacks throwing it all over the lot. Yeah, that's how I describe it. Football players running all over the field, running backs having their way. That didn't happen at all, man. I don't know if I sent a message to my buddy. I said, are the Bears offense just this bad, or did Green Bay actually build themselves a respectable defense finally? did drafting all of those cornerbacks finally pay off?
Yeah, I mean, they've gone 3-4 cornerbacks, at least 3 or 4 defensive backs in every draft for the past 17 years. You would think at one point they would actually have a pretty decent defense. You would think. So I don't know. The answer is still I don't know, because watching this game, I would say it was a little bit of both. Chicago's offense looked terrible. I mean, they had trouble moving the ball. The only thing that seemed like it was working was a little spout off to Tariq Cohen for 3 yards. So there you go.
And there was a couple of times where Tariq Cohen threw it out there. I think there was like a 1st and 40 play, and he threw it out to Tariq Cohen, and he drops the ball. I'm like, dude, you can't drop the ball in 1st and 40. You need positive production here.
Yes.
Even if it's just like 8 yards, you got to get that. Trubisky was like hot and cold, and I couldn't tell if that was the defense or just him, because there were times where he would make a throw, and I'm like, okay, there's a good throw. And then other times he would just overthrow his receiver, or he would throw a lot of those sideline plays, and the wide receiver would catch it, but he'd end up coming down out of bounds and stuff. So he's like overthrowing his receivers that way. He just seemed a little off. And Aaron Rodgers, I don't know, man. He didn't look like himself either.
Yeah, and they were talking about it on the telecast a lot about he hadn't played any preseason and hadn't had time with the guys. So I was thinking the second half he would shake all that off, but it was a whole lot of the same from the first half. I mean, it is game 1, and a lot of these guys do take a little bit of time to get into that rhythm, and that's why they do preseason. But, guys like Aaron Rodgers don't want to get hurt, and a lot of times they just aren't part of the whole preseason process. So I think sometimes these offenses are a little rusty when they come out. But, I mean, the tale here was both defenses awesome, absolutely awesome. Now, Chicago's defense, I think we expected it out of. I don't think this was the defense that we were, this is the defense we thought we were going to get. 10 points to an Aaron Rodgers-led Green Bay team. You can't expect more out of your defense. That was a great showing. The problem was the Packers' defense was even better, and that's where it was surprising. And this defense is a lot different than it's looked in the past. Guys like Clay Matthews, who was a stalwart on that defense for a lot of years, he is not there anymore. They've decided to move on, get some younger talent on that team, and it is really paying off huge. Now, it is up against a team with Trubisky, who we're not sure if he's going to be a great quarterback in the NFL. I think that there's a lot of question marks around him, and I think this offense, there's a lot of question marks around new coach and new scheme and all that. And I'm not sure that we know a lot more than we did before this game, but we do know one thing, and that was this was a little bit of a snooze fest.
Yeah, the only thing that came out consistent and didn't skip a beat was Mac. That guy just doesn't take a day off, man. And that Bears defensive line was all over Rodgers, and a lot of it had to do with the disruption of Mac. I think that was one of the best trades and the best signings. And again, it's just another player that Mike Mayock and the Raiders just sent packing because they didn't want to deal with him. And look at what he's doing in Chicago. Maybe the problem is the Raiders, Loudbeard. Maybe the problem is Mayock and Gruden. Because Chicago hasn't had any problems with Mac.
Yeah, and I don't even know that they even got a chance to even work with Mac. I think they came in with the mentality like this guy's going to want too much money. We don't want to overpay him. Let's see what value we can get for him. And they got a tremendous value. You got 2 first-round picks.
Those first-round picks end up panning out. Now, I don't know which picks they selected for him, but right now he's playing like 5 first-round picks.
He is. And for the Chicago Bears, you gave up 2 first-round picks. You brought in a guy on the defensive side of the ball who, guess what? You hit a home run. You did a great job, Chicago. That could have easily been squandered. There's a lot of times when you do these big trades, you find out that the guy just doesn't quite fit in or doesn't play the same. Now, Khalil Mack from day one has been an absolute producer, and it doesn't look like it's going to change at all. So the Chicago Bears got their defensive captain in Khalil Mack, and that defense is going to be good no matter what. The problem is the offense has to score more than 3 points. Now, the kicker highlights the evening, right? He makes the one lonely field goal to make this a 3-point game for the Bears. So they bring in that new kicker this year, and guess what? The crowd cheered louder than I've ever heard them cheer before when the kicker made his first field goal.
Yeah. But they were also booing. They were booing that offense, and they were booing Mitchell Trubisky. The Chicago fans were not happy to spend all the money they spent to go to that Thursday night football game and come away seeing only 3 points from their offense.
Yeah, that's frustrating. This morning they're waking up like, I can't believe it. We had high hopes for this year. And you know what? Yesterday we sat there and gave our Super Bowl predictions. Man, I feel like an idiot.
You picked Chicago, right?
And I did. I picked the Chiefs to win it all. So I'm going to stick
but you
with
picked
that.
Chicago to go with the Chiefs,
to
right?
the Super Bowl. Yeah, so it was going to be NFC was going to be Chicago, and I said it. It's going to be a coin flip. It's wide open, and I just had a hunch that the Bears were going to be better. And so far, week 1, I'm not feeling so good.
Much.
Nope.
You were expecting Trubisky to take that next step, and he definitely didn't. He didn't
No.
last night, that's for sure.
No.
But you said that was frustrating to watch. Loudbird, I have some frustrating news for a guy like you.
Okay.
You are a Netflix binge watcher, aren't you? You as soon as Stranger Things came out, you were like, boom, season 3 in the books before July 4th weekend was over.
I did. Yes, this is a fact.
Netflix is announcing that they're no longer going to allow you to binge. They're going to do week-by-week releases. Do you like that idea?
No, it's terrible. That is
See?
the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
I knew that was going to be frustrating news for a guy like you.
I don't understand that. Now, what is the purpose of this? I feel like the reason people are leaving cable to go to like Netflix is because they can go in and watch shows and binge watch and they get everything on demand, on access immediately. So now, because they were able to pull all of those viewers over to Netflix, they're now thinking, okay, well, let's go back to the cable method. That way we can do this. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me.
I'm wondering if they're hoping to spread out their internet hits or their views. Like, I don't know why that makes a difference to them. So where, the month of July, they get 30 million hits July 4th weekend when that releases. Maybe they're thinking, well, if we get 30 million hits July 4th weekend, we could get that week to week to week. Does that make sense?
It definitely makes sense.
I just don't know if they're going to get that week to week to week, though. If that number is going to dwindle to where, I'm the type of person, like, I forget. But I know other people, when they love a show, they set their calendars, they set their dates, they do what they can, they move their schedule around to make sure that they're able to watch that show.
Yeah, it's got to be a money thing. I don't think people are going to like it, though. Because you're right. I get frustrated with that. There's a couple shows that I watch, maybe an HBO show. Game of Thrones is a great example, though it's off the air now, where every Sunday night I'd look forward to watching Game of Thrones. But it was almost infuriating because, well, one, there was so much time in between seasons, but Netflix kind of does the same thing. But then sometimes you would sit there and you're like, okay, it's a 10-episode season, and they have like a week or two where they're off in the middle of that. So like it's going to take me 12 to 13 weeks to go and watch this whole season. And sometimes I forget what happens on episode 2 by the time I'm going to watch episode 10. And it's a key moment that I'm like, oh, that's right, that did happen. And you lose the moment. When you binge watch a show, which I don't get the opportunity to binge watch a lot of shows, but when it's like that really, really good show like Stranger Things, for example, that I love, I am going to take the time and binge watch it. There's other shows that I've seen where maybe I'll watch 1 or 2 episodes a night, and then I can get through it in a week, because a lot of these shows now are 8 episodes or 10 episodes for a season. And an 8-episode season, I mean, you can get through that in a week, no problem.
Easily, yeah. But I agree with you on that one point, because there's a lot of times where they'll introduce a character in episode 2, and then he won't come back until episode 8, and then I'll be like, wait, who's this guy again? I can't remember. Because it's not only that just I can't follow the storyline, it's just so much life happens in between episode 2 and episode 10 weeks later, that I just forgot about the guy. Sorry.
This is true. This is true. Well, Chris America, we're up against the commercial break, but when we come back, each and every Friday we do a Fantasy Draft Friday, and you came up with a brilliant idea. I believe it was motivated by our good friend here, Antonio Brown, but biggest divas in sports. Now, are we going active or all time? I didn't really catch that part.
Let's go all time. Let's go all time.
Okay.
Let's make it
Like
interesting. Now, you brought up Game of Thrones. God, I can't think of his name right now. The dwarf guy. Tyrion Lannister, is that his name?
Yeah.
Is he considered a diva?
I'll answer that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'll give you an answer for that after the break, unless you had a better tease.
No, you're good.
Happy Friday. Hey, Kawhi, what are you laughing at, man? This isn't funny. Fantasy sports reimagined. FanDuel, that's what I'm talking about. It is more than just fantasy sports. It's the best way to watch the games, win real cash, and bring the action right to your living room. Just choose a contest, make your picks, watch, and win. And if you go to FanDuel.com/STR today, you can get a $5 deposit bonus. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/STR. Come on, man. This is not a laughing matter. If you've been listening to Scout Team Radio for a long time, you know that myself, Loudbeard, has placed a bet or two in his day. That's right, I've lost the beard bet, I lost the romper bet, but one place I don't like losing is when I bet money, and I can easily do that at MyBookie. That's right, you can go to mybookie.ag, use promo code 12OZSports, and get a 100% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Hey, guess what? That is a lot of money. Do it.
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. 12-ounce sports radio. Quench your sports thirst. Hey everybody, it's your favorite Patriot, Chris America, and I want you to listen every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and on replays from 11 a.m. to noon of Scout Team Sports. Listen, George Washington did not cross over the ocean blue in 1492 to defeat the Nazis, so you can listen to the same tired national clickbait sports stories. So once again, tune in to us every single morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and then we replay from 11 to noon. I will see you there, and God bless America.
Welcome back, and thank you all for listening in. Once again, we are Scout Team Radio. We bring it to you hot and live each and every morning, Monday through Friday, right here on 12-Ounce Sports Radio. We also simulcast on the Full Press Radio Network, and we are part of the Barn Burner Podcast Network. We're all over the place. You can catch us anywhere. You can also catch us on demand. If you cannot listen to the live show each and every morning, that is okay. We will forgive you this one time. But what you need to do is go and download our podcast. You can catch it at Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Google Play, anywhere that you find your podcast. Search Scout Team Radio, and you can listen to every show that we do live. You can listen to it on demand on that podcast, so make sure you check that out. Lastly, we want you to get social. Hit us up on Twitter at Scout Team Radio. We will read your tweets on the air. We have Mike Berlon tweeting in today. He said that it's good to see the curse of loud beer working so fast. That's right. I cursed the Bears already. Any team I pick seems like they do terrible. Maybe that's why the Redskins haven't won a Super Bowl in a long, long time. 1992 was the last time. It's been a very long time, and that hurts me to even just admit that on the air. But that's okay. My curse is working already.
Did you egg a witch's house in '92 or something?
I walked under a ladder in front of a black cat.
Ah, okay.
It's bad luck. And then I broke a mirror. So bad luck for 158 years.
Jeez, man. Poor Redskins.
Yep, a little bit.
All right, so Ladbeard, I asked the question, and the reason why I asked this is because I think sometimes diva has a negative connotation, and I don't necessarily think all divas are bad people. So we did a draft, a few weeks ago, the biggest douchebags, and I think there are some times where a diva is a douchebag, but not all divas are douchebags.
Okay.
And so that's why I brought up Tyrion Lannister. Do you think he's a diva?
Yeah, I would put him in the diva category, but he's not like a full diva. Some of the characters in Game of Thrones were like full diva. I think he was more of a subtle diva, but he definitely had diva qualities, so he would count as a diva.
Yeah, I always felt like he was flashy. He, drank and did things with women, did whatever he wanted, never listened to his family unless he absolutely had to. Just kind of like he was doing his own thing. And he kind of just said, I drink and know things. That's like my status. He was very confident in his place in the world. And sometimes that's what a diva is. And that's sometimes why we call people divas, is because they're so confident.
Okay, it's true.
All right, Ladbird, so you ready to get this draft going?
Yeah, let's get this started.
Did you have pick number 1 last week? I think you did.
Yeah, so you get pick number 1. You got this.
All right. There are, in my opinion, there are 2 top divas, and then there's everybody else just below them. There's not a huge gap, but there's a gap. And so I'm going to take my first diva that I ever noticed, my favorite diva of all time, and that, of course, is Dennis Rodman.
Nice.
I think he's the queen of divas in sports.
I agree with you. I have him down here, and he wasn't one of my top picks. I'll be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he wasn't one of my top picks. Now I have
when
him
you're doing tag teams with Hulk Hogan, Hollywood Hulk Hogan in the NWO, and you're marrying yourself, on TV. I don't know how you get more diva than that, man.
Okay, that's a good point. I'm gonna go to a different sport. I'm going football. Since football started last night, I need to go to the sport of football. And to me, the biggest diva in sports history, I guess he's not the biggest diva in sports history, but one of the most current and one of the ones that we recognize to be one of the biggest divas. And to me, it's always been T.O. Man, T.O.
Yep.
He took all the headlines. He was the diva over the last 20 years. He is that big diva. So I'm going T.O.
Those are the 2 guys I was thinking of. Dennis Rodman and T.O., I believe, are top of the line. You're number 1, number 2. And you know what? If you want to argue T.O.'s a bigger diva than Dennis Rodman, I will concede that argument. I can agree with that in certain ways. But then there's a gap, right? And then there's everybody else. So solid pick. Now we get into the thick of things, and I gotta stick to basketball. A lot of people like to go wide receiver with this, but I like guys that do crazy things like in the public as well as on the court. And there was nobody crazier who did it on the court and then took it into the public than Mr. Meta World Peace.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Going Meta World Peace.
Changing your name from Ron Artest to Meta World Peace.
Yes.
After you were one of the main catalysts in the big brawl in the NBA. Yeah, I would say that's diva-ish.
And then he like I said, he took it in the court and then he took it to public. Like he went into the stands and took his diva-ness to the public. Now, granted, I don't necessarily fault him, because if I were laying down and somebody threw beer on me, I don't know what I would do. I can't say that I would just sit there calmly and say, I'm just going to sit here and not go and fight you. Because I've spilled beer on myself, And I want to fight myself after I'm done spilling beer on me because it stinks. It is the worst.
I have fought myself after spilling beer on myself. Have you ever seen the movie Fight Club? It is inspired by
you spilling beer
a situation where I
yourself.
spilled beer on myself. Yes.
Isn't
and
that
if you
weird
haven't
though
seen
about
Fight
beer?
Club,
Beer doesn't smell like if you smell a can of beer, or if you take your pint and you smell it, it doesn't smell bad. You drink it, it doesn't taste bad. But if you pour it on anything, whether it's your table, your clothes, whatever, all of a sudden it just reeks, at least to me, to where I can't stand it.
this is a fact. And here's the other part. If you're drinking beer, nothing smells bad. But if you are the person that's like the designated driver and you're not
Yep.
drinking,
that's
the beer
worst.
smells. Oh, it's terrible. Terrible.
And if you're not drinking and then somebody spills beer on you, then you're like, great, now I'm going to get pulled over. The cop is going to smell the alcohol all over me, and I got to go through this. Yes, Mike Berlon, we know you haven't seen Fight Club, and I don't even want to talk about that right now, Mike Berlon. He just tweeted in,
Oh,
I haven't
my
seen Fight
God.
Club.
Unbelievable. It's too late. You've missed the boat. It was such a great movie that you don't even
Yeah.
deserve to see it now, Mike Berlon. That's all I have to say to that. All right, so I got my next pick, and you know what?
Yep.
I'm gonna follow suit. I'm gonna go NBA. But this is a category that I'm glad you clarified, because just because somebody's a diva doesn't mean that you have to hate them, right? Like, they don't have to be a douchebag. They could be a very likable person and one of the greatest of all time. And they can sometimes just be a diva. Let's say they do a video of themselves singing about Taco Tuesday and then want to trademark Taco Tuesday. Because to me, that puts you in an upper echelon of diva-ness. And yes, my boy, LeBron James, is a diva. I'm going LeBron James number 2.
When you try to trademark Taco Tuesday, nothing says diva bigger than that. You're right.
It's the characteristic flaw. What can I say?
All right. So far, we've stuck to NBA and NFL. I'm gonna bring it over to the baseball diamond, and I'm gonna go with the roided out divas. And there was no bigger roided out diva than Mr. A-Rod himself, Mr. Alex Rodriguez. So I'm gonna go Alex Rodriguez. Guy's got a picture of him face to face in the mirror, like he wants to make out with himself. He always tried to come off like he wasn't a diva, but he was. He just had that quality. I don't think he's as big as the guys we've mentioned, but I can't leave baseball out of it, and I feel like Alex Rodriguez he's not the biggest diva. I'm sure that people can think of others, but he's up there in the top 5 for sure.
Okay. All right. See, now you went baseball player. I feel like I need to go baseball player. So I like your Alex Rodriguez pick. Now that he's a commentator, I feel like he's a little bit more likable. But when he was in baseball, he was straight diva. It was over the top. It was too much. And I think we can all agree with that. Now, there's another baseball player who I felt like was a pretty significant diva. He's an Atlanta Braves legend. He's really known for his skills out on the baseball diamond. That's right. Deion Sanders is one of my biggest divas of all time.
Oh, man. Can't believe I didn't think of him. Yeah, you're right. That's a under the radar solid number 3 pick. I like that better than Alex Rodriguez.
Oh, okay. Okay. Don't look at Twitter. Don't look at Twitter.
So that means I got to come back. I got to come back around. And OJ got to make the list. Was OJ a diva when he played football?
He is a diva now, though.
Yeah, he's a diva now, but he's not an athlete now. I don't know if you can become a diva afterwards and have that like retroactive to you in sports. So I'm going to go with a guy that everybody loved to hate from 2004 to maybe 2010. I don't know. But I'm going to go with one Chad Ochocinco. Talk about changing your names. Got to go Chad Ochocinco on this one.
Well, you've got 2 players on your list that changed their names.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get more diva than that.
That's a pretty quality. Man. Wow, yeah, Mike Berlon says Deion is a steal in the 3rd round here. Could have been top 2 pick, arguably.
He is.
This is a good point. This is a good point.
But if you
All
look
right.
at our list, I think other than Alex Rodriguez, if you look at our list, I think us are drafting the guys that are picked before him are definitely are bigger rounds. Like if we had more people drafting right now, DM would have definitely been a first round pick for sure.
Yeah.
But because it's just
Um,
you and me,
Mm-hmm. There we go. If we had a bit larger draft, more people, if the man with the golden mic would show up on the microphone on Mondays and Fridays, like he said, we would be all right. We would have a third person, and Dion might have gone second round easily in that situation. For
Yeah.
my next pick, though, without further ado, I'm going to go a different world, right? I've got football, I've got basketball, I've got baseball with Deion Sanders. That's the only sport he's known for. I think I'm going to have to go into a different world. I'm going to go into boxing. Floyd Money Mayweather. A man with the nickname Money is, to me, got to be one of the biggest divas in the world of sports.
oh for sure, always flashing his money, always posting his gambling bets that he wins. I don't know if you ever noticed, but he never posts his losses.
Nope.
Big time diva there. Fought a UFC fighter just because he could. Great job there. I looked at him when I was looking at Alex Rodriguez, and I just went back and forth, and I just decided to go Rodriguez. But you went a different world, Loudbeard, and you're always the one that has that off the wall, nobody thought of, and you always somehow win. So I'm gonna try and do that now. I'm gonna try and be like Loudbeard, think a little outside of the box, be a little fun with it, and maybe this will cause you to switch your fifth pick. But I'm gonna go in the world of soccer, and I'm gonna take a female athlete, Loudbeard, because female athletes can be divas too. And I'm gonna go with Hope Solo. I'm gonna go Hope Solo with my fifth pick in divaness, and we'll see what you think about that.
Okay. There you go. That's a quality pick. Hope
Yeah.
Solo did become a diva. She was very diva-ish.
She had lots of problems off the field.
Mm-hmm.
She became very boisterous. Her name was synonymous to soccer. Like there wasn't many Americans who didn't know who Hope Solo was. And there seems to be like every 2 to 3 World Cups, we always have that one female that sticks out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so I get the last pick here, right? So you got Hope Solo, which to me that was she wasn't on my radar. But I've got a lot of selections here that I can make, and this is tough. This is now I don't know if I'm going to be able to make this last choice, and I don't know where to go with this. I've got some names I'm going to throw out here since you're not going to be picking anybody else. I'm really hanging here. Keyshawn Johnson, give me the damn ball.
Yep.
When you have a quote like that sticks with you for that long, that's going to always be a good one. Joe Namath, he is like the original diva. Most of our listeners were probably not old enough to remember Joe Namath, including myself, as a player, but he is one of the original divas.
Most of us remember Joe Namath, the drunken old guy trying to hit on the female reporter.
Yes. Well, that is also quite diva.
That is diva and also creepy.
Yep. Kobe Bryant, he was a big diva.
Yes.
If anybody's out there in Twitter world, Mike Berlan or the real man with the golden mic or the fake man with the golden mic, either one of you guys, give me a tweet. Tell me, who do you think I should pick with this last pick? Should it be O.J. Simpson? Could I go O.J.? Here's another world that we haven't dabbled in, but would you consider Tiger Woods a diva, Chris America? Should I go Tiger Woods?
Tiger Woods, y'all. I mean, you can't forget hockey.
Oh,
there are divas
there
in
is
hockey.
Yeah, there are. I don't know any off the top of my head, but I'm sure we could.
I have 2 that I don't know if they qualify as divas, but the media and everything qualifies them as divas. So, but sometimes the media just likes to hate on people just to hate on people.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know. This is a tough pick here, and I'm not getting any assist here on in Twitter world, which is it's fine. Maybe I need to make my own pick. I'm drawing it out as long as possible, just to see.
I'm not seeing anything either.
Yeah, man.
So I guess you got to make your pick.
I'm gonna go. You know what? This is for you, the real man with the golden mic. I expect your vote at the very end. You know what? I'm not going with O.J. Simpson. I can't do it. O.J., that makes me feel dirty. So I'm going to go with a guy that makes me feel a little bit less dirty, but not quite. I'm going Tiger Woods, man. You know, if
Tiger
you're able,
Woods, y'all.
if you're able to moisten the panties of every Perkins waitress in the state of Florida, then you're a good damn diva.
Oh man. Things we didn't think we'd hear today is moisten the panties of every Perkins waitress. God, I love Scout Team Radio.
That's what we were built on.
It
The
is.
Perkins waitress was our original idea of being the best sports story of all time.
Now, when I was picking Hope Solo, I was debating between Megan Rapinoe and Hope Solo, Megan Rapinoe and Hope Solo, and I was like, no, I'm going to go with the OG. I'm going to go with Hope Solo. And I was right. Like, Mia Hamm was that 2 to 3 name that we knew for like 2 to 3 World Cups, and then Hope Solo was around for a little while. Now I think we're going to have Megan Rapinoe and Alex Morgan. Those will be the 2 names that we'll know for a little bit while. Randy Moss, another omission from this list, Loudbeard.
Yeah,
Sometimes
Randy Moss
we
is a
pick
good
a
one.
topic. Sometimes we pick a topic, and I want to like include 5 or 6 people just so we can cover all of the divas and all of the people on the list. Because you mentioned all the ones you mentioned were great. You could have selected any of them. Mike Tyson was. Would you consider Mike Tyson to be a diva?
I thought about him, but not really. I didn't feel like he was like a super diva. He
He's
seemed
more
like
of a douchebag, right?
yeah.
Back in the day, he's kind of a diva now. I don't know. He's just kind of flashy and entertaining.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's true.
Well, the real man with the golden mic. He wasn't going to help you out with your last pick, but he is going to tell you that you won with Mayweather.
Okay, good. Thank you, man with the golden mic. I appreciate that. Now I do have a thought for another draft we could do coming up.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of guys on my list that I didn't select. Antonio Brown, I could have selected. Odell Beckham, T.O., Des Bryant. You picked Chad Ochocinco.
Yeah.
Do you see a theme here? We could go.
I think go wide receiver divas.
Diva wide receivers, and we could easily come up with a list.
I mean,
Keyshawn Johnson.
That's the position that's synonymous for divas, right? We brought up other sports, but it's kind of just, I don't know, maybe guards are more divas, you think? No, because LeBron James is a diva. Shaq, I feel like, is a diva. Dwight Howard's a diva. So really there's no positional, attachment or stereotype in basketball. The 2 hockey players I was thinking were Sidney Crosby and PK Subban. But again, I don't watch hockey enough to know if they're divas. I just know that the media calls them divas.
Yeah. I see where you're going with that. I don't know that we could even come up with a list of hockey divas. We could come up with a list of basketball divas, but they're all different positions. But wide receivers, the one, it's like
in
the honey
all
pot.
Sports. Yeah.
It is. It's the honey pot.
There's no other position in sports that has more divas than the wide receiver position. That's for sure.
All right, so it's going to happen. It may happen week 1. It may happen week 2. But there is going to be a great story of a wide receiver being a super diva, and it could be Antonio Brown moving forward. So there is going to be a situation where that happens, where we're going to bust out the wide receiver diva list for a future Friday fantasy draft.
Right now, Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham Jr. are getting along, but I feel like those are 2 diva-ish personalities that could clash at some point during the season.
Yeah, it's true. Now, okay, here, I got a question for you. I'm thinking of these divas. You brought up Baker Mayfield. Who is a diva quarterback? Now, if I'm looking at the Packers who played last night, and they, in their history, have 2 very big diva quarterbacks, Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. Who would you consider the bigger diva out of that group, Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre?
I think you got to go Brett Favre just because of how he retired. And it wasn't just with the Packers. It was with the Jets, and it was with the Vikings, and it just was such a drawn-out story. And it's like, dude, make up your mind. Figure out what you're going to do. And I don't know. He just always had that. Brett Favre always rubbed me the wrong way for some reason. I always thought he was so overrated.
Yeah, the gunslinger.
Yeah.
Leading the league in interceptions. Greatest quarterback ever.
Won 1 Super Bowl. Had a lot of losing seasons. Didn't do much after that Super Bowl.
Yeah, unless he played that one year with the Vikings, he was really good.
Yeah. And I mean, the 2007 team was good, and that was when he was supposed to retire, but lo and behold, he threw an interception to lose the game. No surprise there against the Giants.
Mm-hmm. Ain't that the truth? Preach.
Well, Loudbeard, we got 2 minutes left. Are you feeling any October baseball yet, or are you still like, no, I got to get through the first 2 weeks of football?
No, I got to get through the first 2 weeks of football. I'm definitely not feeling like right now. I'm not even thinking about baseball. No,
Yeah.
I should be. I'm not.
Like if I asked you who the wild card, contenders are, you'd have no idea, right?
Nah.
Yeah, me neither. Once football starts, man, it's tough until we get really into those, like, I usually start paying attention when there's that wild card race gets down to like 8 or 9 games, especially if it's like super, super close between 3 teams. Then that's when it gets really fun.
Yeah. Hey, on a side note, and this is something we could talk about for probably 20 minutes, but I just want to bring it up. LeBron James, even though he's a diva, he's supporting a bill in California. He tweeted about this. He wants to get voters to come out and vote for it that would allow student athletes to earn money on endorsements and sponsorships. So this could be a game changer in college sports. So LeBron James is supporting it, and they're trying to get people to vote on it in California. So that's a big story. If California were to make it legal to pay players, I mean, think of the recruiting aspect. If you're a team like a USC, you're like, come on, guys. We can pay, and the other teams can't.
Well,
come on over here.
California already made a bill that was something similar, and then there was that story, remember, where the NCAA is like, well, then California teams just don't get to compete for championships.
Yeah, no, but it's on the ballot now, and LeBron James wants everybody to vote for it, so this could get sticky.
All right. Well, something that's not sticky is the end of this episode. Or is it sticky? Guess you'll have to tune in Monday to find out.
Yeah, I'll ask the Perkins waitress this weekend.
Are the honey buns sticky here?